And this video is on processing order and awareness origination. This is basically what you would call an argument, meaning it's not really analyzed or structurally put this way or taught this way and whatnot. I want to describe something simple that explains a lot of human misunderstanding without psychology, spirituality, labels, or persuasion. Again, just reading my notes. This isn't about beliefs, it's about order. The core idea: human beings don't all process reality in the same sequence. Not because of intelligence, not because of morality, not because of culture or ideology, but because awareness does not originate from the same reference point in everyone. The interruption there, background noise. Human beings don't all process reality in the same sequence, not because of intelligence, not because of morality, not because of culture or ideology, but because awareness does not originate from the same reference point in everyone. That single variable where awareness starts quietly determines how everything else unfolds. Two processing orders, not values, not judgments. Most people are taught implicitly and repeatedly to process reality like this: self, interpretation, reaction, justification. Meaning, identity, emotion, role, or survival is the starting point. Reality is filtered through what does this mean for me? Emotion and defense arrive first. Explanation comes afterward to protect the self. That is not wrong, it is simply the common order. Society is built for it, language assumes it, education reinforces it. There is another order, far less common, that looks like this. Life, existence, reality is into observation, into understanding, flowing into expression. So everything else is observed first, as it is, into understanding, flowing out through expression. What is comes before what it means. Understanding emerges from the thing itself. Expression follows clarity, not defense. Just different. That's all. Structurally different. Period. Not wrong, not broken, just structurally different. Why does this matter? Most conflict does not come from disagreement. It comes from mismatched processing orders. One person is naming what is and what something is in the now. The other is hearing what it means about them, past, present, and future, instead of the now. Neither is wrong, but they're not speaking from the same starting point. And because society assumes only one order exists, the other is often misread as cold, detached, arrogant, spiritualized, dismissive, or threatening, when in reality it is simply non-self-referential. Referential by default. By default, I don't refer things to myself, but what they themselves are. Which is the whole argument here, because I never knew there was any other processing order. I didn't know. I didn't really completely understood at people's core. They're always self-referencing. The majority reference reality they filter it through self-reference in some way, shape, or form. Honestly, I always took that as I notice it in conversations and whatnot, and you say something neutrally and suddenly they're just yakking on about what it means to them instead of just remaining neutral in the discussion. You start talking about cars, the next thing you know, they're naming every one of their favorite cars when you just want to neutrally talk about one specific thing or a group or whatever. It's like, I notice that kind of stuff, and it's like they're always referring me, I. And it's like, I never knew. I always thought it was a known preference. I thought it was understood, and people were just choosing to be there. I didn't know it was a deeper thing. It's simply a processing order. And that's the whole argument. That was the whole research of all this, and the whole point of all this, the video and whatnot, and future research into it, because it's like two different languages, and I never knew it. And when you hear the majority, and statistically 85 to 95% of the population is primarily self-referenced, that's alarming enough in of itself, regardless of me at all. Okay? That's all. That's the point of sharing that. It's the point of researching it. It's like if people are speaking two different languages, you got to understand them both to communicate. That's all. The missing variable: most models of human behavior analysis and analyze beliefs, trauma, culture, personality, cognition, but they skip the variable that comes before all of that. Where does awareness itself begin? In the person. Where does awareness itself begin? Does it begin with, who am I in this? Or what is this first? Like I said, does it begin with, who am I in all this? Or does it begin with, what is this? Two questions. And me, I've always asked, what is all this? Anything and everything, that's all. That's how I've always operated. Until that question is asked, every downstream analysis is incomplete. Why this isn't gradual, the difference is not primarily a sliding scale. It's not something people slowly move toward. It often appears very early. Excuse me, a little gassy. Ooh, ease up, man. Ooh, pardon me. It often appears very early, sometimes before language is fully formed and remains stable. People don't choose their processing order. They discover it or never notice it at all. Which again, if you don't know you're processing everything through a reference of self, you don't know how, you don't know. But if you don't know, how are you going to defend your ignorance? Falsely, that's how. People, yeah. This is not a call to change how you process, a critique of society, a spiritual teaching, a claim of authority. It's none of those. It's simply a description of a structural difference that already exists. I'm explaining this because if you don't account for processing order, clarity sounds like judgment. Neutrality sounds like dismissal. Description sounds like a threat almost every time. And understanding sounds like disagreement. Once you do account for it, something shifts. Not agreement, not conformity, but recognition. This isn't about what people think. It's about where thinking begins. And until that is acknowledged, we will keep arguing over conclusions while missing the source. That's all this is pointing out. Nothing more, nothing less. I'm just quickly like the read on my miscellaneous notes to see if there's anything I need to add. I had the structure laid out, but I had other notes that were just miscellaneous on top. Nope. That argument is from me. I don't know who else is, if anybody else has had that argument or if anybody else ever analyzed that, brought it up, researched, whatever. I don't know. This is all from me. Because, like I said, I never knew and I was never able to even be made known and aware to understand there's differences in processing order of people, like the reference of external reality of existence, of life, everything. Again, just like, a soda bottle. I keep using the same reference. I used this in the previous video I just recorded, which I meant to do this one first, but the other one was more fresh and I wanted to get that done. If I put this down right here and I walk into the kitchen and I don't look at it, don't think about it, don't just completely remove its existence from my head, my being, is it still here? Will it still be here on camera? Yeah, it will be. Will anything change of it? No. It's that easy. I don't need to add myself to everything. Or whether I like this or not, it doesn't matter. If I want to know what this is, I remove myself from the equation, or I don't remove myself, I just don't even include myself. I mean, it sounds so simple, but apparently very few can even do it situationally, and I've been doing it my whole life. Which statistically, these are not my statistics. 85 to 90% of the documented population is processing through their self-filtered, filtered through themselves. What does this mean to me, for me, me, I, that? It's like there's nothing wrong. It's just there's too much ignorance. Okay, I'll put it that way. There's too much conflict and ignorance. And then 5 to 10% can do it intently, situationally, but not maintain it, always default back to self-reference. And then 1 to 3% do it by default. They by default see what is everywhere prior or even without adding their own reference to it. And this was naming that process, the origination of that process begins with the emergence of awareness within yourself, and how that emerges and comes to be determines your processing order. Whereas if society endlessly, even from babies to growing up, all you're taught is self-reference, if everything is taught is what it means to you and yourself and everything else, filter everything through what you want to see and be or perceive it as, then yeah, those statistics will be accurate because nothing ever changes. Nothing else is ever taught or examined. So when something else comes along and it's like, this is normal for me, but upon research, it's not statistic. It's the lower statistical number. It's jarring. It really is, because it's like something normal is completely reversed for up to 95% of the population. Documented. Now that's not my. That is, I'm quoting here. That's a quote. That's not my statistics. But that's just like, wow. Like, that is something worth researching, because if you think bigger picture and you think deeply on it, if that many people endlessly self-reference, how much information on everything are you all missing? That's the reason right there. How much more there really is to even understanding things if you don't make self-references, self-determinations, you name it. If you let everything be as it is itself versus what everything means to you through you filtered, that's a whole lot of misinformation on everything. And that is worth speaking on. You tell me. I mean, I'm going to continue researching this. I'm going to continue naming it, recording it. She knows. So I don't care. It's extremely interesting for me. It gives a lot of explanation for a drastic amount of conflict with others my whole life, and misunderstandings, and you name it. So it's like making sense of things. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, that's why I'm going to choose to continue researching this specifically. So until then.